I was broke, but luckily my buddy had money. During my poorest year, I'd sneak into his bunk at midnight to steal cookies from his nightstand. He'd pull me into a tight embrace, his voice husky. Stay with me. James and I had been in the same class since high school. Back then we were just kids clinging to each other without understanding why. Mostly me clinging to him. The guy was loaded, and sticking with him meant guaranteed meals. My parents had written me off, and I was about to drop out sophomore year to work assembly lines. Then I met James. James became my desk mate, wealthy, generous, trust fund kid through and through. The crumbs from his pockets could feed me for days. I shadowed him everywhere, slinging an arm around his shoulders. When he grabbed lunch, he glanced my way and automatically gave me a portion too. I grinned, nuzzling his neck with my buzz cut. Thanks, man. You're the best. He'd shrug. Whatever. I wolfed down the food, slumping back with a satisfied burp. He ate methodically. I'd pull out vocabulary flashcards, content to wait through his 20-minute meals. The moment James finished, I'd trail after him like a shadow. Sticking to James wasn't just about food. He smelled amazing. Our 8-bed dorm reeked of teenage boy except for him. Up close, his sweetness hit you, like walking through blooming gardens. At first I thought it was cologne, then suspected fabric softener. The culprit turned out to be his laundry detergent. Our strict boarding school had washers, but they required coins I never had. I hand-washed everything in rusty sinks. Bargain detergent left my clothes dingy, no matter how I scrubbed. That's when I started raiding James' supplies. I'd climb onto his bunk and snatch whatever book he was reading. He'd blink up at me, confused. Pajama shorts revealed legs so pale they glowed in the dim dorm light. Marble smooth limbs that made my fingers twitch. When I reached out, his foot connected with my shin. Hands off. He growled, but there was no heat behind it. I draped myself over him instead. James, let me borrow your detergent. Fine. His detergent left my shirt smelling like spring mornings, floral and crisp. Soon I was using his supplies regularly. What began as survival became instinct, my body gravitating toward his warmth. I claimed the desk next to his in every class. During June's sweltering lectures, James suddenly sneezed. His nose flushed pink, definitely coming down with something. My gaze dropped to his writing hand, elegant fingers gripping the pen, the vulnerable dip of his wrist where pulse fluttered. I reached over. He stared blearily. My fingers tugged his collar aside. Fevered days. He didn't resist. Confirmation. Even his collarbones were porcelain, perfect. He resembled Nana's heirloom jade, cool white tinged with warmth. Ethan. He rasped. What are you doing? You sick? I countered. A little. Gimme cash. I'll get meds after class. James produced his wallet, handing over 20s. Hesitated. Added a debit card. Why the card? Withdraw 500. Pins 910,208. The plastic burned my palm. Before I could refuse, chalk smacked my forehead. A teacher's projectile rolled across our shared desk. Keep talking and you can get out. The math teacher glared at me. I immediately quieted down, lowering my head to stare at my test paper. With only 20 minutes between classes and the infirmary located in the South Campus, I sprinted across the sky bridge to grab medicine. After withdrawing cash from an ATM, I returned to class with 6 minutes to spare. James was slumped over his desk. I nudged him awake, pouring hot water between 2 small cups to cool it. He frowned in discomfort, swallowing a handful of pills with practiced ease. Amidst the summer chaos, I noticed a single tear escaping his eye from the bitter taste. The girl sitting in front of us turned around and silently offered him candy from her desk. The sweltering heat drove me to refill our water jug. When I returned, Ethan was laughing at something the girl had said. I topped up James's cup without comment. That summer, James battled constant ailments, colds morphing into fevers every other week. During our first 3-week break, I dragged him to the hospital despite his protests. While I anxiously awaited his test results at the clinic, James lounged in the waiting area, tracking children racing through the corridors. The expedited tests revealed severe anemia and compromised immunity. All that worry for nothing. I muttered, relieved yet annoyed. Thought you were dying or something. James smirked at the report in my hands. Satisfied. Ethan, you've been hovering like a mother hen lately. Mother hen? You've been sick for weeks. I thought, what? That I'd give you AIDS. He barked a laugh. If I scared you that much, why share every meal? I yanked him toward the bus stop. You're staying at my place tonight. No? Come on. I locked my arm around his waist, ignoring his protests. He glared but ultimately boarded the bus with a resigned, "You're impossible." My family's self-built brick house stood in a decaying old district where garbage piled beneath empty buildings. James recoiled at the stench. I'm leaving. Wait. The apartment's clean. I swear. I dragged him through the dim alleyway. His shoulders relaxed upon entering our spotless living room with its sparse furniture, proof of my meticulous cleaning during visits. While I cooked dinner, James worked on homework in my room wearing my oversized shorts and tee. At the table, I averted my eyes from the collar slipping off his shoulder and focused on my plate. Later, scrubbing dishes, I wondered where he'd sleep. Every spare room lay dusty and unused. My neck grew warm at the unspoken alternative. James emerged from his shower. Hair damp. Where's? Bed's big enough. I blurted, then busied myself rearranging pillows. He stared before shrugging into the sheets. We lay back in the sweltering dark, the fan whirring uselessly. His quiet chuckle shook the mattress. What? Never pictured you as the nervous type. Shut up. I elbowed him, smiling when he didn't pull away. The sticky heat somehow felt lighter with his breathing steady beside mine. After finishing the dishes, I started tidying up the house. Since there was no mattress, I layered extra quilts on the floor. Testing the AC. I found it worked perfectly. Only after ensuring everything was spotless did I relax and go call James. Pushing open the bedroom door, I found James already curled up in my bed, blinking sleepily at me beneath the covers. He mumbled, "What took you so long? Are we sleeping or what?" I hesitated before replying. I prepared the room next door. James paused, clearly fighting exhaustion as he propped himself up. Oh, I'll go sleep there then. He hadn't even stood before I stopped him. Confused, he sank back into the mattress with a yawn. What's up? Resting my forehead against his shoulder, I inhaled deeply, that intoxicating sweetness making my pulse quicken. Before I could overthink, I tucked him back in. Stay here. I'll take the other room. He gave me a drowsy glance before burrowing deeper into the blankets. Pillow in arms, I relocated next door. Our close bond was legendary in class. Olivia, who sat in front of me, often marveled, "How did you two get this inseparable?" Not sure what you mean. I'd shrug. You wouldn't understand. She'd say cryptically, exchanging knowing smiles with her desk partner Sophia. Whatever. I stuck to James like glue between classes anyway. My survival literally depended on him. James was my personal saint, bringing water when I needed medication, always sharing his premium candies. Sure, my budget only stretched to mid-tier sweets, but he never complained. When James fell ill for over a month, I became his caretaker, fetching lunches charged to his meal card. Though I tried not to abuse this, keeping him company through naps, monitoring his protein intake. Humans are simple creatures really. Sunlight, decent food, and low-stress work wonders. Basketball season revealed our class's unique dynamic. While other grades buzzed with teenage romance, we channeled that energy into cutthroat competition. Our girls' team dominated despite their height disadvantage. sinking three-pointers like pros. Losses meant lunchtime drills until we redeemed ourselves next gym class. James and I held our own academically and athletically. Lean but muscular. He moved with natural grace on the court, which made his sudden anemia that month so baffling. My solution: more steak dinners and mandatory court time. During games, you'd find me cheering loudest from the sidelines whenever James played. Some call me his hype man. I preferred thinking of myself as the strategic observer, studying opponents while ensuring our star players stayed hydrated. The ball's rhythmic thuds mixed with his laughter became the soundtrack to those golden afternoons. Sunlight glinting off his damp curls as he'd fake, left then drive right for another layup. We never discussed the night he fell asleep in my bed, his scent lingering on my pillow for days. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, like why my hands still trembled hours after tucking that particular memory away. All the girls around me were shouting, so I joined in. Once I got into it, Olivia beside me was clutching her stomach from laughter. Olivia handed me the water bottle she was holding. "You've got a set of lungs on you. Take a sip." I drank some and glanced over at James. His face was flushed red from overexertion. As he approached, his heavy post-workout breathing hit my ears. Instinctively, I offered him the bottle. Without hesitation, he took it and drank. Olivia let out a loud whoa beside us, startling me. "What's your problem?" "You too, sharing the same bottle." She grinned, eyes crinkling. "What's the big deal?" I frowned. We were close friends. Wasn't this normal? Olivia shook her head, still smiling. "Nothing. Just happy. That's all." She left with Sophia in tow. Why was she laughing? We literally just beat their team. I muttered, confused. James tossed the empty bottle into a trash can and shrugged. "No clue." "Lunch? I want tomato beef stew." I leaned toward him out of habit, but he nudged me away. "Got it. Quit crowding me. I'm sweaty." Grumbling, I looped my arm around his waist and rested my chin on his shoulder. "James, you always smell kinda nice. Laundry detergent." He answered flatly, "Really? We use the same brand. But yours is different somehow." I couldn't explain it. There was something beyond the crisp scent that pulled me in. Before I could overthink, James dragged me toward the cafeteria. High school trudged by. Though grueling, I reminded myself this was the whole point. Endure now. Reap rewards later. I buried myself in textbooks, occasionally glaring at the sluggish classroom clock, resenting its languid ticks and my own delayed adulthood. 3 years felt eternal. Yet somehow, everything shifted during sophomore winter solstice. Snow fell that day. The cafeteria served dumplings. By evening prep period, the sky had darkened to slate. On our way back from class, James and I spotted a disheveled woman arguing with a security guard at the gates. She rushed toward us under the overpass. "Do you know where sophomore class 1 is?" "That's our class," I said. Her cracked lips trembled. "Do you know Lucas?" Lucas was our class president, a walking encyclopedia with a 4.0 GPA. Before I could offer directions, James yanked me backward. "Ask someone else. We're busy." His grip was ironclad. He dragged me to the campus bookstore instead. I wanted to question him, but his icy stare shut me down. We returned just before the late bell. Chaos greeted us. The woman was now at our classroom door, screaming as our teacher shielded Lucas. "How dare you tell me to calm down? We sacrificed everything for my son's education, and he's wasting it on this disgusting creature." Spittle flew as she jabbed a finger at Lucas, who stood motionless with fresh scratches bleeding down his cheek, sending love letters to another boy. Filthy pervert. I lunged forward instinctively. James followed, and soon our classmates swarmed, boys forming a barricade while girls tried reasoning with a woman. "Annie, there must be a mistake. Lucas would never take advantage of anyone. Security eventually escorted her out. James and I accompanied Lucas to the infirmary. His silence felt heavier than the winter sky outside. Leaning in closer, I realized Lucas had bruises not just on his face but also his neck. He remained silent throughout our walk. I wanted to break the tension but didn't know how to ask if he was gay. At the infirmary after treatment, Lucas rasped to James, "James, could you lend me some money?" "How much?" $2,200. Done. The transaction concluded quietly. Though rumors swirled among curious classmates, nobody confronted Lucas directly. He remained class president, top student in our grade and across 16 schools. Yet this incident left me unsettled. James noticed my distraction. "What's wrong?" he asked, slipping into my bunk through the privacy curtain. The dorm noise faded as I focused on his alabaster neck glowing in the dim light. Summer cicadas hummed outside as we entered the intense final stretch before college entrance exams. Our desks overflowed with snacks, energy fuel for endless studying. James kept mine stocked with crispy ramen packets despite his frequent hypoglycemic episodes. Not eating at home again. I pinched his pale cheek as he dozed off during study period. His skin felt icy when I crawled into his bunk that night, pressing against his shivering frame. "Hungry?" I whispered, producing the milky jade pendant from my pajama pocket. "My grandmother's protective charm," I explained, fastening it around his neck. The cool stone contrasted with his feverish skin. As exams approached, James' health deteriorated. I finally dragged him home on my rusty bicycle, transforming us into temporary commuter students. Grocery runs and home-cooked meals became our stir-fried beef, spinach liver soup. After 2 weeks, color returned to his cheeks. Should have ordered from that private kitchen earlier. James murmured over takeout dumplings. I never understood why this wealthy heir lived like a pauper, his hands trembling whenever opening his wallet. During our 3-day pre-exam break, James moved into my apartment. Moonlight filtered through cheap blinds as we lay awake, his cold fingers interlaced with mine. The jade pendant glowed faintly against his collarbone, our silent pact against the looming unknown. I still remember how disgusted James was the first time he came to my place, and how he eventually got used to it. Now he navigates the narrow alleys skillfully, avoiding the trash piles, groceries in hand while wearing my oversized shorts. During college entrance exams, we both got assigned to our own high school as testing sites and ended up staying overnight there. When exams finished, I rushed out first, sprinting back to the dorm. I found Ethan still waiting at the school gate as expected. He was on a phone call, but turned immediately when he saw me running toward him with flowers. "Ethan." I crashed into his arms. "Happy graduation." He chuckled, returning the embrace. "Happy graduation." James got picked up by his family right after commencement. Meanwhile, I started construction work the very next day. Beyond that brief congratulation, I never got another chance to speak with him properly. We barely crossed paths except during college acceptance letter distribution, when I glimpsed him at the crowded school gate. Before I could call out, he'd already been whisked away by waiting cars. It suddenly hit me, I never visited his home or knew anything about his family. The realization stung. Thankfully, summer passed quickly, working manual labor until late August. I finally quit the factory with 8 yen, 000 saved up, dragging my suitcase away from the city I'd lived in for over a decade. I'd chosen a southern university far from home for no particular reason, except that James once mentioned wanting to see the South. We'd applied to the same school and major. Arriving early for move-in, I waited through orientation week only to learn from the academic advisor that James had taken a leave of absence. Leaving the office under overcast skies, I swallowed disappointment. He'd promised we'd meet here. James arrived during early winter winds, wrapped in a scarf with sickly pallor. I found him slumped in my dorm chair like he'd traveled days without rest. At the door's creak, he turned with that exhausted smile. Ethan. I approached wordlessly, throat tight. Why so late? What happened to you? Burying my face in his shoulder, I felt his bony frame through the sweater. He stiffened but patted my head. Assigned to a different dorm for late registration. James moved in that evening. I followed with my bedding. The new room housed only us. After showering, I crawled straight into his bed. You've gotten bold. He sighed. I don't need a human heater anymore. I pretended not to hear, clinging tighter. He smelled of mint soap and exhaustion. When he squirmed from discomfort, I loosened my grip slightly. His necklace chain slipped free. The jade pendant cool against my palm. Protective jade, my foot. If it worked, why was he always ill? James suddenly sat up, phone flashlight illuminating my tear-streaked face. His thumb brushed my cheek. Since when do you cry? Ethan. I snatched his phone to kill the light, dragging him back down. My lips found his in the dark. He froze. I kissed him again. A slap landed, soft, hesitant, testing. I kissed him once more. Another half-hearted slap. In the stillness, his whisper trembled. You can't. Slobber, so disgusting. In the dim hallway light, I could see James' brows furrow tightly. James, am I disgusting? I whispered against his ear. He didn't answer. James, don't find me revolting. I'm clean. I love you. I murmured as his breath warmed my shoulder. Lately, James had become unbearably pampered, too lazy to fetch meals or do laundry himself. I've been signing him into classes all semester. Discovering my usefulness. He'd probably have me bathe him too if he could. We both studied software engineering, though he'd skipped half the semester except for core courses. He spent days holed up in our dorm reading programming manuals and practicing code. Between classes and tutoring elementary kids English, I'd stagger back exhausted only to find James sprawled on my bunk, those long legs crossed at the ankles. He was unfairly tall, unfairly pale, and well-proportioned. Not that I'd ever admit noticing. I marched stiffly toward the shower. Such self-control? His laugh curled around me like smoke. When his foot hooked my ankle, I nearly choked. This man, I'd sue him to the Supreme Court. Southern winters lacked snow, but compensated with bone-damp chill. As holidays approached, I took extra gig website troubleshooting, tutoring sessions. My hectic schedule finally drew James' protest. Let me settle your student loans. He offered. I refused. Adulthood meant self-reliance. By semester's end, I'd saved nearly $2. 000 from scholarships and side jobs. The numbers glowed on my spreadsheet, enough for a proper spring festival together. Our kitchen steamed with garlic, fried ribs, and simmering congee. Snowflakes patterned the window, highlighting James napping on the threadbare couch. He'd become nocturnal these past months, emerging only for groceries. Sometimes I caught him massaging his temples, face drawn. Questions burned my tongue. Where had he disappeared last semester? Why the chronic fatigue? What did the Wilson family actually do? His silence bred doubts. Was I just temporary entertainment before he returned to his gilded world? Midnight found me seething while he slept obliviously. When I slammed the bathroom door, he merely rolled over. 3 days I stewed furious while cooking, livid during meals, incensed beneath shared blankets. Let him wonder. One night, James couldn't take it anymore. He sat up in bed glaring at me at 2 a.m. What the hell's gotten into you? He demanded. Tell me the truth. Did you never plan for this to last? His confused stare only confirmed he didn't understand my turmoil. To me, that silence spoke volumes. Furious tears pricked my eyes. Am I not good enough for you? James? I shouted. He adjusted his glasses, the blue light from his tablet highlighting the thoughtful crease between his brows. Depends which aspect you mean. Heat flooded my cheeks. Fuck you. A smirk tugged at his lips as he pulled me closer. That particular aspect seems adequate. Our argument derailed when his fingers slid into my hair, his breath warm against my neck where his pulse throbbed. For 2 weeks, we've been snowed in together. Our first New Year's as a couple. I'd stocked up on groceries, even mixed dumpling filling from scratch while he lounged on the sofa scrolling through stock reports. The call came as I was folding pleats into the last pork and chive dumpling. James's voice turned clipped. Understood. I'll leave now. You're leaving. I blocked the doorway, flowers still dusting my apron. Move, Ethan. His suitcase wheels clicked against hardwood. I need to go home. Try getting past me. My throat tightened. It's New Year's Eve. For Christ's sake. When he finally met my gaze, his resolve faltered. Please don't make this harder. The dumpling wrapper in my hand tore. I made enough for both of us. His suitcase dropped with a thud. Ethan, warm palms cradled my face. Baby, I swear I'll be back by the 3rd day. Family emergency. His lips brushed mine, lingering. Be good for me. I watched his Tesla taillights disappear down the icy driveway. The freezer swallowed 3 dozen uneaten dumplings. By the 5th day, darkness swallowed the empty house. My fist trembled around the phone. Olivia answered on the 3rd ring, mahjong tiles clattering in the background. Ethan, to what do I owe this midlife crisis? Where's James? With you. Obviously. Wait, her voice sharpened as background noise faded. He's not there. The frozen dumplings glared at me from the frost-rimmed window. Gone since New Year's Eve. Said it was family business. Silence crackled through the line. James's entire family is in Turks and Caicos until spring. Ethan, he never told you. The phone fell silent on the other end. After a long pause, I heard Olivia's voice. I'll send you the hospital he was staying at. The call disconnected. I stared at the location on my phone before heading out. James and Olivia had known each other since high school. Back then, I'd noticed their familiarity, but thought nothing of it since they barely interacted beyond occasional greetings. It wasn't until college when Olivia got harassed by someone on campus that she called James for help, revealing their long-standing connection. Childhood friends or something, though clearly not the healthy kind. No wonder he'd always smiled at her that way. When I finally saw James again, he lay motionless behind the glass door of a hospital room. I wondered how much blood loss could make a person that ghostly pale. Olivia arrived breathless, interrogating the doctor about his condition. The physician handed her the chart like routine. The latest incident didn't cause major damage, but his chronic blood donations, the doctor hesitated. I've warned about the cumulative effects. Yet Mr. Wilson Sr. insists it's fine. Olivia, between us, is the Wilson family's second son even biologically theirs? Olivia laughed bitterly. If he weren't, they wouldn't force him to keep donating. I sat vigil by James's bed for hours, wondering if those closed eyelids would ever lift. When they finally did, surprise flickered across his exhausted face before he forced a smile. What are you doing here? I said nothing, staring at the needle marks laddering his arm. He tugged his hospital gown lower. Ethan. He plucked at my sleeve, that damp-eyed dog look in his eyes. My gaze dropped to his skeletal wrist, sensing my tension. He struggled upright and brushed a feather-light kiss against my lips. I pulled him into a crushing hug. You've lost weight. James chuckled weakly. 5 days in bed. What did you expect? Right? Just 5 days. Just 400 cubic centimeters donated. Just 8 abnormal blood markers. Just 3 months since your last transfusion. My voice sharpened. How much did you give last time? He stiffened. Not much. Not much landed you here for 3 months last fall. Drop it, he muttered, turning away. I'm fine. You're fine? I exploded. Then I'm not. You shut me out completely. James, what gives you the right? Annoyance flashed across his face. Don't start with me. Ethan, my body, my choice. You can't magically become universal donor type. What exactly would you do if you knew? The word stung. You're right. I'm just the crazy one waiting like an idiot. A day? A month? A lifetime if you bleed out in some hospital. I won't die. Sure, corpses don't talk anyway. He fell silent. I stood abruptly. Can you walk? Barely. Then stay. What do you want for dinner? Don't trouble yourself. The cafeteria. Great. Eat there. I won't come tomorrow. I turned toward the door. No point playing nurse when I'm useless anyway. He stared, unaccustomed to my bitterness. I pedaled my rusty bike through the drizzle, 5 miles between my apartment and his hospital. My hot plate being slow. I bought a pressure cooker. Red date longan soup. Soybean pork trotters. Angelica lamb stew. I even called my estranged mother to ask about her postpartum recovery foods. Blood replenishment worked the same, whether after childbirth or donations. After a week of meals, color gradually returned to James's cheeks. On discharge day, only a Wilson family housekeeper came with performative concern and a thermos of chicken soup, hinting at future donations. I hurled the container into the nearest dumpster before she finished speaking. The woman scurried off under my glare. I still didn't understand the Wilson family dynamics or James's exact situation. He kept silent, and I stopped asking. Like he said, they're circus. They're monkeys. He wasn't born my boyfriend. And some battles weren't mine to fight, so I couldn't argue before. But as long as James was dating me, certain things couldn't happen again. His injuries healed quickly at his age, though he remained lethargic at home, moving like a delicate flower, beautiful yet fragile, pale and brittle. He'd cough from a breeze, spike a fever from drizzle, even get stomach aches after eating ice. His newfound frailty drove me to monitor him constantly. I'd lay out his slippers before he rose, prepare warm washing water, switch his toothpaste to sensitivity formula. When he emerged, I'd even cushion his chair. He scoffed. Ethan, this is excessive. He didn't understand. I wouldn't let him fall ill again on my watch. By semester's start, I'd painstakingly restored some color to his cheeks. For insurance, I dragged him to my grandmother's TCM friend who prescribed blood tonic herbs. At the high-speed railway station, James carried clothes while I hauled medicine. My own wardrobe could borrow from his. What's his is mine. Hell, he's mine. My cheeks burned until James nudged me. Why are you blushing on a train? I mumbled excuses. I rented a shabby $200 studio near campus with a kitchen for his herbal brews. After deep cleaning, it became our weekend hideout. James sprawled on the refurbished rug, marveling. How do you make this dump look decent? Light curtains, cohesive colors, strategic decor. His chuckle rumbled. Ethan, you'd make a great wife. My throat tightened. You called me husband last time. When locust blossoms bloomed in March, I steamed the flowers, but James vanished. Dozens of unanswered calls later. Olivia texted an address. Wealthy folks always hide in remote mansions. I drove nonstop, chain-smoking through 4 mountain trails until spotting their cloud-wreathed estate. Scaling the damaged wall, I crashed into peony fields before barging inside. Guards froze as I aimed a stun rod at the wheelchair-bound youth. I'm Alexander Wilson. He smiled, mirroring James' features but ghostly pale. Maya's sister-in-law. My grip tightened on James. We're leaving. Alex tilted his head. Take me too. He looked eager and enthusiastically handed me the keys to a Range Rover. I glanced at James, but he didn't respond. I took James with me, and Alex too. It seemed fine. Bringing Alex meant his family's bodyguards wouldn't stop us. I drove straight to our campus, the flashy Range Rover rolling onto school grounds. James carried Alex out of the car in his arms like a princess, which inexplicably annoyed me. He never held me like that. Since the dorm had 2 beds, Alex naturally claimed James's. James ended up sleeping with me, though it was just literal sleeping. My irritation grew. Alex turned out to be low maintenance, aside from the array of medications I couldn't decipher. He ate whatever I brought without complaint. Our couple's bubble became a trio, with James dragging his brother everywhere, classes, bedtime, even our evening walks. What began as curiosity curdled into frustration. I texted James, "Can't we just have some time alone?" "No. Can't leave Alex by himself in the dorm." "Why?" "He'll try to kill himself." I looked down at Alex in his wheelchair. He was smiling at the sky, pale-faced, the scars on his wrists visible when he lifted his arms. What a pain in the ass. James pushed his brother's chair as I walked beside them. Night air brushing past. Eventually, Alex left. His parents came personally. That middle-aged couple clung to their eldest son, tearful, never once glancing at James. Before getting into the car, Alex waved. "James, sis-in-law, see you around." With the annoying burden gone, I pulled James into a kiss back at the dorm. He collapsed on the bed, curling into himself. I lay sideways beside him, his forehead pressed to mine as he muttered hoarsely, "I'll only say this once. If you miss any part, don't ask me to repeat it." "Hold on. Let me record this." I reached for my phone, but James swiped it away, burying his face against my chest. "No recording. Don't want to hear it twice. It's bitter." "Ethan, I grew up with my mom. She was beautiful, long hair, tiny waist. Everyone wanted her, including my dad. His dad wanted her. So she became another mistress. The man had countless lovers and at least 8 illegitimate kids. My existence wasn't special. Dad gave Mom $3,000 monthly to raise me. But she'd rather gamble or get her nails done than parent. She'd lock me inside, feeding me whenever she remembered. I starved more as a kid than anyone should. Was skinny, ugly. When Alex first saw me, he called me a mangy monkey. He paused. I wrapped my arms around his waist, nuzzling his soft hair. "No, you're beautiful. My James is beautiful." He laughed weakly. "Ethan, still mad at me?" "About what?" "The running away. Ignoring your calls. You told me not to go. But I did. It's fine. Next time, I'll secretly plant a tracker on you." "Okay." He exhaled shakily. "They took me back at 6 because Alex got sick. Rare aplastic anemia. The Wilson family has a rare blood type. They tested everyone. Maybe others matched, but I was the cheapest. Dad bought me from Mom for $200,000. She was thrilled. Sold me for a good price. So I owed Dad $200,000. That's what he told me. Said every 100 cubic centimeters of blood I gave was worth $2,000. How much is left? Not much. $42,000. I'm fine." I stared at him, then pulled a pocket knife from my jeans. James froze as I slashed my own wrist. Hurt worse than I'd imagined. His face went ghost white as I smirked through the pain. "I'm fine." "James, see? Perfectly fine. How dare you hide this? How dare you? Maybe I've been too soft. Or no, it's my fault for being broke. If I had money, would you have told me the truth?" He clutched my blood-soaked shirt, trembling. "Ethan, there's too much blood. I called an ambulance. Let them fix this." I closed my eyes. $200,000. 14 years. From a 6-year-old to now. Later, in the ambulance, I gripped his hand and rasped one last question. "What's 910-208 mean?" He stayed silent until I tightened my grip. "James, truth. Alex's birthday." The card from the Wilson family to James had a password set as Alex's birthday. Those bastards. No wonder James hated spending money from that account. I shouldn't have used James's funds back then. James's mom was such a fucking asshole. How could she stay silent about everything? I was a damn fool, too. Ignoring all the warning signs. Half asleep, I heard James murmur, "Ethan, you fucking idiot. Why did you cut your artery?" James probably regretted telling me those things, never expecting I'd implant a tracker chip in him. If you go beyond 2 miles from campus, my system gets alerted. Just wait till I handle some business. Ethan, you can't do this. Do what? I'm perfectly fine. If I don't look after my own boyfriend, who will? He fell silent and I stopped arguing. I rarely contacted my father since Grandma's death. He looked shocked when I showed up with her notarized will and summoned the lawyers. Turns out Grandma left me 3 villas in Jade worth millions. Before I turned 18, the inheritance had been frozen. My dad always thought those assets got sold during our family's supposed bankruptcy, which he actually engineered through embezzlement. When he saw the property deeds, his eyes burned with rage. I smiled sweetly. "Remember your favorite Atlantis suite villa, Dad? The underwater bedroom worth $8 million? Let me gift it to you. What's your game? Help me ruin the Wilson family. That tacky nouveau riche clan who made their fortune in interior design. The villa's value should cover shorting their stocks. But if you refuse, I'll take this deal to Mom instead. No need. Of course, I'll help my favorite son make easy money." Life returned to normal after that. The Wilson family's downfall came months later. James suspected me briefly, but dismissed the idea. He never thought I had the resources. Eventually, he relaxed, sleeping soundly even when I messed with him mornings. If I tried moving away, he'd pull me closer, mumbling, "Ethan, hate you." Ouch, that's harsh. He'd crack one eye open, grinning. God, I loved James, especially how he played me like some eager puppy. Loved him then. Love him even more now. James's diary. Ethan claims I led him on. Please. He pursued me first. Freshman year entry, September 1st. Cloudy. First day of high school. Spotted Ethan immediately in the crowd. Hard to miss when everyone's dragging suitcases, but this 6 feet 2 inches guy's hauling 2 burlap sacks wearing a tank top. Looks broke as hell. Hope he doesn't starve in the dorm next door. October 8, sunny. Ethan keeps mooching off my meal card and crashing in my bed. He nuzzles close like some tail-wagging mutt, sniffing around for treats. So damn obedient. November 2nd, rainy. These gloomy days make me nostalgic. Not sure who to miss, though. My gaze dropped to Ethan, who was sprawled asleep on the desk. Think about Ethan. What's there to think? I want to touch Ethan's waist. Looks so. February 3rd. Sunny, just back from winter break. Exhausted. Losing 600 cubic centimeters of blood is brutal. Can't sleep at night despite being dead tired. Like something's missing. What? Like missing a person. Ethan's straight. But couldn't he at least sleep beside me? March 16th. Fair weather Ethan gave me a jade pendant. He's so sweet. That jade was stunning. Alex saw it and tried to buy it off me. That jerk wants everything. July 14th. Unknown weather miss Ethan. First stem cell transplant hurt like hell. July 24th. Still clueless about weather, 20+ days hospitalized. Annoyed. One Ethan. September 1st. Weather irrelevant, hate Alex. Second stem cell transplant. He frowned. Get lost. Sirio Alex stabilized. I can leave. Go back to school. Whoa. Oh, packing up. Need Ethan. October 16th. Sunny Ethan. He's decent technically. Alex bet me Ethan only likes my face. Don't believe it. But when Alex suggested bringing him along, I agreed. Wanted to test. If someone identical showed up, would Ethan still choose me? Men can't resist temptation. Prepared for that. But soon noticed something off. Why is Ethan pumping Alex for info? If I don't tell him, he asks others. Fine. Gotta rip open my scars. What's the point? I worked so hard to bury this. Go ahead. Just a little longer, and I'll repay the debt. Done. Sent Alex away that same day. Yet later, impulsive thought, maybe tell him. Humans suck. We hide our ugliest parts, yet secretly want to flay ourselves raw and ask, if I'm this broken, will you still love me? But I really, truly love Ethan. So damn much.